Everybody loves the Pit. What did you do on the Pit? Which one was it?
I don't remember which episode it was. I wanna say it was the first episode, but I don't remember. But I was driving an ambulance and
Oh, it was an ambulance.
I rolled in and I got out and I helped get the gurney out and roll someone up, and yeah, it was a fun experience. That one. I did have to go through gurney training, so that was interesting.
Oh my god!
I had never operated a gurney before, and we went through the training process, and it was. It's a lot. It's a lot to. So I did. I actually was just up for a Taurus Award for hardest hit for a head-on crash that we did on Meanie. Me and Logan Holiday, and we were both in cop cars in a parking garage, and the car Crystal Hooks was driving was in front in between us both, and we were coming at each other, and she reverse 180s out of the way, and we crashed into each other. I would say, email hustling is definitely a good way to go. I try to respond to every single person that emails me, whether I have to do it on my weekend or whatever it takes. Eventually, it might take 2-3 months, but eventually I will respond, let them know I saw it, put it in my file, which I do have a file of everyone that sent me stuff. I enjoy looking at their stuff and finding new talent, because there are a lot of talented people out there, whether you've heard about them or not.
Hey, and thanks for tuning back into Stunt Talk with Jessica Viviane. That's me. And today my guest is Brett Smrz. Is that how you say it?
That's perfect. Yeah, that's exactly right.
It helps when you're bilingual. You can always can guess a little bit.
It was perfect. Most people don't get that right. So
what do you usually hear when they try it?
I hear Smrz, Smears, Smrz.
I
hear a lot. Smears is the most common, I think.
Which is because you need multiple E's in there to actually make it sound.
Yeah. Yeah, people emphasize whatever they see. They're like, ah.
It's so cool. I know when I had Anthony on here, it's like, is it Anthony Nana Kon Panom? He's like, you got it. I was like, oh
yeah.
my God.
I love that guy. He's so cool.
Oh my God. He's so fun. I'm going to be in LA again in 3 weeks, and I'm going to see him. So I'm super excited.
Nice. Awesome. Very good.
Well, if you do not know Brett, it's interesting because your earliest credits that I found dating back go all the way back to 2001, and you're also a millennial baby. So that means you were 10 years old. So one of those was Planet of the Apes, and it says you were human kid #1 and Stunts. Do you remember what you did?
I do, actually. Yeah, it was I was only there for one day, but I was in this back lot of a jungle set, and there was stunt guys walking around in gorilla suits and monkey suits, and I was one of the kids that was wrapped in those torn clothes, and our job was to just run and run around and run away from the monkeys. And I don't know if I ever actually made it in the film, but there's that moment when he lands his plane and they're just running. That was the scene that it was.
I'm gonna have to kind of watch back. Did you have to trip and fall or just run?
No, I was just running.
You imagine? All right, hit your mark now. Trip and fall.
Yeah. Yeah, that wasn't interesting, but I do remember it pretty vividly, which is amazing because I don't remember a lot of stuff from back then. So
especially if you do so much. So the very first that was on the bottom was the animal with Rob Schneider. Was that actually the first one, or does it just kind of fall in the row like that?
No, the first one that I did was artificial intelligence. That was the very first one. That was with Doug Coleman. He tafted me, so that was when I got my SAG card, and I drowned in a pool. Haley Joel Osment grabbed me and just dropped back into the pool, and we did all that for real. And stunt guys came in and wrestled them off of me, and we had to put sandbags on my ankles and his ankles to help me sink because he's supposed to be this heavy robot. So yeah,
wow.
that was another fun one.
Well, did you have any kind of water training before that? Because I feel like those are the types of stunts that you usually would take adults that look like kids, no, for the water.
For sure. It could definitely come to that. They made me do scuba certification, so I took that when I was 10 and got my scuba cert, and so I learned a little bit, and it wasn't anything too extreme, but on the animal, the water was 50 degrees, so they had me in this really thin layered, wetsuit underneath my wardrobe, and that was not enough. I was
Oh,
freezing.
I can't imagine. Oh my
But
God.
yeah, we toughed it out, and it was fun to watch. So
Well, those are like stunts, 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 stunts. But what you are known for as driving, because you are a Drivers Inc. stunt driver. What does it mean, or what do you have to actually do to become a Drivers Inc. stunt driver?
it's very tough these days. It's come to like this more it's trying to turn into like a celebrity group. So a lot of times like when we bring in new people, like for a little while we brought in Reese Millen and we brought in Tanner Faust, and so we were trying to bring in these really high name people. It's gotten a little bit more lenient since then. So now like our latest members are Jeremy Fry, amazing guy, amazing driver. Shauna Duggins as well. So she does a lot of big stuff and all that. So it's gotten more lenient, but the group itself it's the whole team is everyone in the group is amazing driver. It's a very stacked team. They do a lot of big stunts, and I am very honored to be in that group. So it's I got very lucky when I got in. I was 18 years old. They were looking for a young new guy, and I just so happened to be there, and I just finished racing professionally, and yeah, so I was just in a good spot at the right time.
Huh. Well, we're gonna get into the origin story because there's so much kind of to it, but you started so young in it. But if you're wondering where you might have seen the skills, definitely not seen you probably in there driving the skills of one of the Mission Impossible movies, Extraction, multiple episodes on Agents of Shield, 911, one of the Fast and the Furious movies, F9. I saw Transformers, and the newest ones. Everybody loves the Pit. What did you do on the Pit? Which one was it?
I don't remember which episode it was. I want to say it was the first episode, but I don't remember. But I was driving an ambulance and I
Oh,
just
it was an
rolled.
ambulance.
I rolled in and I got out and I helped get the gurney out and roll someone up, and yeah, it was a fun experience. That one
Oh, so
had to
you're
go
seen in
through.
this one too, then?
I think you can see me. Yeah, I believe. I'm not sure if like you'd have to like really look and be like, oh, there he is. But like it might be the side of my head. But I was doubling someone, so probably not. But I did have to go through gurney training, so
Just
that
gonna
was
ask. Oh
interesting.
my God.
I had never operated a gurney before, and we went through the training process, and it's a lot. It's a lot to
Yeah,
learn.
I've
So.
heard they just did an interview on like all the people that they cast for it and what kind of skills they expect. So they have a lot of people with the background, but because they have to move, and they were actually talking about also people that are maybe dancers or people that are like used to just keep it moving because it just flows like that. But was it your first time driving an ambulance, or did have you driven one before?
I have driven an ambulance before, but it's kind of funny. Like I haven't actually just driven one. It was I was driving one with like caster wheels on the bottom, and I had to slide it. They wanted it to slide like a 90
Oh.
slide, and so I was driving it, and I had to press the pneumatic button, and then the casters come down and it slides, and so that was the only time I had driven an ambulance before that. So this one was just very mellow and just driving really slow and pulling up to a stop. So, but it was a fun time, and yeah, the pit was a good one.
Well, other than that, like how I usually like to also say, like, how did I meet? Why did I pick you? Well, I've known you from before because you also coordinate. So you're also a stunt coordinator. And I had submitted for something you recently did. So then after that, like your name is very unique. And I always stay for the credits when I watch something, if it's at home or especially movie theaters. But it's so fast, like you got to really like laser, like to try to find
Yeah.
someone. So they stack all the stunts and it just goes like this. But I was like, oh, Brett, and I was like, and I didn't even like know you in person, just from like pictures and like emails. And then so I was like on Mercy. And then the last one I watched was Crime 101. My son and I, we like love movies. We watch everything in Dolby. And so these kinds of movies, they hit so hard. It's just, it's like insane. So I was like, all right, this is like the sixth time now I see Brett's name on here. I know he should be done because the film is in post production. Let me just reach out. I think you should definitely be on the podcast. If you are in everything I'm watching, you need to be on the podcast.
I've been very lucky. I've had a fortunate last few years, and yeah, I'm thankful for the success. So
Oh, but on Crime 101, were were you the one that was as it was going down driving through that parking lot, or was that someone else and into the
no,
garage?
I think that was probably Danny Downey. I'm not 100% certain. I know he doubled Chris for a lot of the driving on
Oh.
that. So Danny was there. I didn't really do too much. I was maybe like I was an ND driver, maybe did some head-on stuff, but nothing really, nothing too crazy. It was just super mellow ND driving on that one. So, but I was very, very fortunate to be on it. So,
It's cool. I think I said this in another episode somewhere, but it's so funny. I was on a set as a specialty extra on Netflix set, and then Stunts was there that day, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And they were driving, but the driving consisted of just driving up a hill, maybe 5, 6, 7 miles an hour, and then turning back around and driving back up. I was like, oh my god, that's like not so bad to get something like literally anyone can do it. You just got to be safe. And after that I went and I was like, but it would be cool to know some more about driving. So I went to Bobby Orr's because he has one of his training sites down here, like an hour and a half away from where I live in Sebring, and to do some precision driving. And I have to say, like, that you do the slalom and then you do the 180, which is fine, and then the sliding 90, not too bad either. But a reverse 180, no. Like, what is
that
the
one got you.
that one? And then it started pouring raining because it was the day before one of the worst hurricanes we've ever had. And it was like the day before we're out there. I was like, actually, the rain made it so nice because you slide so nice. Like, it was hot and dry the whole day before. And then the next day when it started raining, we were just in the rain, and it actually was so much better. But how do you even what okay, you're probably just like with Bobby. So he was there, he's like, all right, hop in the passenger seat. Let me show you. And then he's just like chill. He's barely touching anything, you know? He's just like, see, it's so easy. So then I'm like, okay, if I barely have to do anything and I sit in it, and then he's like, what are you doing? It's like, literally what you you were just like chill, barely touching the steering wheel. I don't know how you guys do it so chill, but when you drive back, I know you're kind of supposed to look like in the mirror to keep like a line so you don't do one of these, but just how do you really do it to just go straight back without backwards?
Yeah, so you use your mirrors for sure. So usually I'll use my left mirror or my right mirror and find like a reference. And so you would, if basically if it's on the reference is on the left-hand mirror, you would just hold it on that side and kind of just focus on that mirror only. You glance at the other ones to make sure no one's popping out at you or anything like that. But as far as holding your mark, you use that mirror on that line. So that helps a lot. And then the two most important things for reverse 180 is speed. So you have to be going, a decent amount of speed to be able to do it. And the other one is to actually, you have to throw the wheel really hard. And that's where a lot of
And
people will
not
go
flip.
wrong.
It feels like you could flip. Like, we had two different cars. The Impala, it kind of felt like it might. The Escort was a little better.
Yeah. Yeah, so some people will just grab it and kind of just do it nice and slow, like a smooth turn, and that's when it gets really really, really slow spin. So you really want to just give a good yank, and basically once it's like halfway around, that's when you just pretty much just slam it into first gear or slam it into gear, and it'll all do it all itself. So it's you just takes
Yeah,
practice
yeah,
and
I know this one. I'm just like, because I remember this one took like the most. Because the regular, okay, you go up, you have a certain speed, you look where you want to go, and then you're there. Like, but the looking is important, and I love that. Like, when you watch other people do it, you can actually see how much you can see what the person is doing. Like, you thought you were doing it, but you didn't look first. You went like this, and then you looked. But to look where you, and it makes such a difference to look first. But there, yeah, you first of all, like you said, the mirror to like keep going straight, making sure you're good. Then yanking it, first gear, keep going. That, I mean, is insane.
And then it gets even trickier when you get to the manual shifting. You got to then you got to do it in the middle. You actually have to shift it into first gear.
Oh, I'm thinking because
Um,
I know how to drive a manual. I grew up in Germany, so we don't learn how to drive an automatic. It's like a PowerPoint presentation. One day they're like, oh, by the way, if you're ever in America, that's how they drive. You just got to make sure you're on the brake. But when you haven't driven a manual in a while, I always got to remember like where I keep my foot because you don't want to, because you're
right.
so, when you
Yep.
then go back from manual to automatic and you hit the brake instead of the, now I can't think of the English word, but the,
The clutch.
yeah, the clutch. And then you just like, oh, what happened? I was like, oh, I was just driving a manual. So my mom has a manual right now. So sometimes I'm like excited, not in traffic or when I'm uphill standing, but
That's the
like at the
worst.
light. At the light, it feels nice. First of all, just having the hand, and then you just like,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
my
everyone
favorite.
needs to drive a man. I wish it would switch back to like permanent manuals for everyone. It's
Oh
going the
yeah,
opposite direction here in the US though, so
it's going
unfortunately.
to self-driving, which is so boring, especially for someone like you. Then it really will only be a sport at that time. But your origin story that kind of brings us to that. So your dad is Gregg Smrz, and he did motorcycle racing, but you are a race car race.
Yes, yes, correct.
That's how you got started. So tell me about that. Was that natural because your dad was kind of in it? How did it all start?
It wasn't, I wouldn't say it was natural. He tried to get me into go-karting when I was 11 years old, and I went out and had fun. It didn't like hook me though. I wasn't really like, I got to go do this. So I took a little bit of a break after driving a little bit, and then I came back when I was like almost 13, late 12, and I was like, now I really want to go. Let's do this seriously. And so we started go-karting and doing it regionally for 1 year, and then after that year, my dad was like, "Okay, we're going, national racing." He just threw me to the wolves, and that's his like like his racer mentality. Like he would just really wanted to just compete and do, race against the best guys. And he is a very, very good mechanic. He was my mechanic for go-karts, and he's extremely talented where it comes to that. So, yeah, we just did it for a few years and won some championships and just moved along with that. It was probably the best time of my life. So much fun.
It's so funny because I have a one go-kart experience when I was about the same age, maybe 15 or so, 14, 15-ish. Because I lived in Germany, like in the South, you're just a few hours from Italy. So usually if you go on summer vacation, you go to Italy. So my mom was dating someone at the time that knew some people. And he was like, oh, they have this go-kart place. It's like actual where they train and they race and all kinds of stuff. We can go there. And he was asking if I can drive. And they were like, oh no, you like need to have like training. And he snuck me in with the helmet. Nobody will know this. But so I'm driving, and it was super obvious that I didn't belong because, and I'm still trying to figure this out when it comes to speed in the curb. I always feel like it's gonna just like rip and flip. It always feels super intense, like going in. So I just do the natural. I kind of slow down and then speed back up. But did it for you feel scary at first that you started slow and then eventually went faster, or do you just need for speed from the beginning?
Oh no, I was slow. I mean, the first time I went out was I can remember it was it should be like a minute and a half lap in that slow of a cart. I was doing like 5 minute laps. I was going so slow, like
I got to
walking
tell my
speed.
mom. We're going to have to show this clip to my mom because my mom filmed this. And I remember people going by me, like looking at me. They went twice by me already. Like, and
Yeah,
she was
it's
like,
normal.
I was like,
It,
I'm going like this. And she was like, look, I looked at the video and it looked like slow motion.
yeah, you were probably in a faster cart too, because I don't know. The one I was in probably went. Oh, actually, maybe not. I mean, it was probably 45, 50 miles an hour, that one that I was in, so it was pretty fast. But I
Yeah.
I find it's super helpful if you have someone to go out and follow.
Mm.
I didn't have that. I was just out driving by myself, and I was just, taking in
Just
the sights and having
thrown
a good
out.
time, and yeah, exactly. So it was fun. I'm gonna get into that soon with my kid Maddox. He's almost 5, and as soon as you're 5, you can start racing. So I'm probably
Really?
probably gonna buy him one soon and get him into some fun stuff. just for fun. So
So when you're 5, is it then one of those like still battery operated, or is like a pedal one, or like it's
no,
already like
it's
a
it's a motor. Yeah, it's a pull motor. Goes about 30 miles an hour, and it's a real go-kart. So
yeah, keep
yeah,
your hands away from that thing. Don't burn your hands.
that's right. Yeah.
Gonna get burned. Oh, that's so cute. That's so fun. Having boys in general is like super fun. I was so excited when I like knew my son. I was like, yes, boy, we can do a bunch of stuff. I've always been like more into all kinds of like crazy and cool stuff. I was like, what are we gonna do? I was like,
It was
um,
a absolute surprise for us. We didn't look and see if it was a boy or a girl. We waited until the last minute, and
wow.
yeah, so that was fun because I also really wanted a boy, and when he popped out, I was like, yes.
So for you, it was one of those. I just don't want to know, and then I'll just be happy with.
I'll be happy either way, but I did really want a boy, so yeah. And
That's
now
funny
and
because
now
my
he's
boyfriend is the same. That was happened. Like when he found out it was a girl, he was like, "Okay, I need a minute." But now it's like she's really really cool. Totally like a boy a little bit too,
yeah.
but in the funnest way. Aw, but that's exciting. Almost 5 coming up.
Yeah, May 20th is his birthday, so it's coming soon.
Oh snap! My son's birthday's in May too.
Nice. There you go.
Okay, so what was it like though having a dad? Now we know in the racing world, but then having a dad in the stunt world, when you got those initial roles when you were 10, was that kind of the opportunity kind of hit? Your dad was like, oh, this is perfect for you, or were you kind of interested in trying to do what your dad did?
No, to be honest, no, I didn't really have much interest doing stunts until I was like about 18 because my goals were to become a professional racer and just continue on racing. Um, but it's extremely expensive to continue racing, especially once you start moving up the ladder. The higher you go, it just becomes millions of dollars, and that's kind of the
Really?
stage where I was at. I needed a $500,000 to continue, and I just, it's a lot. It's especially when the series aren't televised, and the circuits like don't promote the drivers and don't do enough to like get the word out or get it publicized.
Is
It's
it like
very, very
NASCAR
hard.
driving or more like in the Formula? What kind of driving was it
Yeah,
that you?
so I was doing Formula Ford 1600s, and that was, it was affordable. We were able to do that. The next step would have been either F2000 or Star Mazda at the time, and F2000 was 250,000 with no marketing or anything like that. So if you get a sponsor and you need marketing and stuff, that's going to jump the price significantly. It would be like 4 to 500,000. And then Star Mazda was 500,000 for the season, and then same thing. So, and they're not
Why is it so
televised.
expensive? It's like that's why you need the sponsors, huh? You need like all the little. Oh my
Yeah, you need to have sponsors, that's for sure. Or you got to be, you got to have a rich dad or uncle or something like that. So,
god.
but it's something you got to work for. So if you really want to do it, I'm sure you can find sponsorship. My thing is my dad was in the stunt industry. I hit that road and I pretty much had the road split. Like I could either attempt to be a professional racer and go after all the sponsors, or I could just jump into stunts, fortunately for me, and I just decided to go the stunt route. And once I started, the ball started rolling, and I was like, okay, I think I'm going to go this route because it's fun, and I'm still driving and doing, what I love to do. So and I'm making money. I'm not spending all my money.
Exactly.
That
But the
was the
only
big
difference is
difference.
like difference. That's the perfect word because I'm thinking I saw a post today from a stuntman who started as a breakdancer and he was sharing today, man, I kind of miss the days because it's totally different. He loves film, TV, doing stunts and all the stuff. But when you're like live and the audience, especially the type of driving is so different because you're really going for speed, you're racing, you're competing versus all right, I'm going to just trick. I got to hit this mark even though you're like, I did that, which to me, that's like the coolest thing. Like you're watching it and you're like, nobody else knows, but I did that. But do you miss that or do you still race a little?
I did race for a little while. I haven't gone to the track really since I've had my son Maddox. Just kind of been focused on him mostly, but I'm gonna get out there again soon. We're both gonna get those go-karts, and I'll be driving with him soon, so that'll be a good time. But I was doing Global Time Attack. I had a E36 M3 that I built up, and I was doing that. Broke some track records while I was doing that. So
Nice.
I was still having fun. And I just, I wish I was still doing it. It's just even that alone is even that's expensive because you just got to build your car faster and just keep putting more stuff in it, and it just all adds up. So
Well,
yeah.
that's so interesting because I that feeds into the next thing. So training of a stunt driver. So you've been doing it for a long time, but I assume you still gotta keep on training, probably different vehicles, different weights, and keeping the skills fresh. Or is it one of those things? Because I feel like when I don't drive a stick for a long time, I can get in and it's fine. But how is it for you? Do you actually have a training schedule that you go by and certain things that you still keep up, or does it come naturally?
No, I mean, I've been racing and driving for most of my life, so I do feel like, it's not something that will go away very easily if I stay inactive for a little bit, but it's definitely, you have to stay active. You have to try and, do what you can when you can. Fortunately, been working enough to where I can kind of practice at work. Like it's like
Mm.
I'm, doing enough of it to be at work and keep sharp, to where I haven't really gone to the track and trained myself. My car's been in my trailer for a few years now, so I just
Wow.
I need to get it out. But I also I have right over here, I have a driving simulator and I use that quite a lot. So I do iRacing on there and race with my friends, and so that gets the race car stuff out of the way. And there's
It's like you're
also
reading my
ways.
notes right here. My next question was dry practice for driving like fighter pilots question mark.
Yeah, yep, racing sim all the way. That's where it's at. So it's really honestly these days they have dialed it in pretty well. The games are very realistic, and all the equipment, like especially post COVID, when COVID hit, all these racing sim companies just they so many people bought simulators and started racing virtually because they were trapped at home and couldn't do anything. So that surged that
Mm.
business very heavily. And so now there's a lot of competitors for the wheels and pedals and the sim chassis and everything. So it's really gotten very
It's so
good over the
funny
last
because
five
we're like
years.
almost the same age. I was born in 86. And my very first video game was Need for Speed Hot Pursuit on the computer. And for
Nice.
Christmas, I got the steering wheel that had the vibration that, like back in the day, especially, so
Yeah.
you're driving and,
Yeah.
that was my first one. And it was
That
so,
it's a great game. I love that game.
yeah, you like a Porsche with like flashing lights. I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
God, let's go.
Yeah. That game is still good to this day.
Yeah, you're saying it holds up, then I got to check it out. It's probably $3.99 on the
It's very
Microsoft
different than
Store.
what you remember, I promise you, but it's still fun.
But but in stunt driving, a lot of it is more precision driving though. So how was that transition from, like speeding racing to, hey, there are two cars and you got to just fit into it perfectly? Like how did you practice or get into some of those things to switch for film and TV?
So when I first started from my racing career to stunts, I actually thought that I was like the best stunt driver known to man. I don't know why, but in my head,
Young.
I just thought, I'm gonna jump in there and I'm gonna just kill it and all that. So it didn't, I mean, I did well. However, when I was trying to learn new things like reverse 180s and 90s in the boxes and all this stuff, I got checked very quickly, and I had to learn, how to redrive because racing on a track is one thing, and I got very good at that, and that's its own skill set. Going into stunt driving, it's got similarities, but there's a lot of big differences. So, now in stunt driving, you're always trying to get the car sideways and control the car while it's spinning out, basically. So that was the biggest learning curve. The thing that was very similar between the two is on a racetrack, you're hitting marks the entire time. So when you're driving through a corner, you have a braking marker, you have an
Hmm.
apex marker, and you have, like I'm going to hit the throttle right here. I'm going to hit the brakes here. If the car does this, I'm going to hit this mark. So you're always like, you have all these marks. And so that translated very well into stunt driving as far as
Interesting.
like timing and all that stuff. It really helps quite a lot to be proficient on a racetrack. Which I honestly say, like I know a lot of stunt people like going out and drifting and sliding the car, which is amazing practice. I think track days are just as important, if not more important, because
Really, huh?
if the car gets kicked out sideways in mid corner and you're not expecting it, that's when you learn like how to catch the car. The drifting helps in a sense of like if it goes beyond that point on the track, then you're like, oh, I know what to do because I do this all the time, right?
Yeah.
So you let go of the wheel, you catch it, you come back. So that's my opinion. I feel like more people should train in track driving or rallycross or stuff like that because it makes a big difference. Like it's very different training than
Do
just
you
going
need
and
to go
drifting.
fast a lot of times? The only driving job I had was actually going fast on the highway. I was driving a patrol car and maxing it at 96 miles an hour because we were chasing a McLaren. They're like, heard over my ears, like, can you guys go faster? I go, I'm going 96. This thing is not going fast. This is
Yeah.
a McLaren in front of me.
Sometimes, yeah, it depends on the job, really. So, but there's been a few like six underground. I had to go pretty fast, and that was in really tight streets in Italy.
Whoa. Yeah, Italy
Transformers.
streets. Oh my God.
Yeah, it was in Florence, and the streets were very tight. And
You're
the it
actually
was
going fast. It's not in post production that they're speeding it up. So you actually,
no,
huh?
that was all real. No, I was going 120 miles an hour in downtown Florence in some spots, and it was pretty sketchy because there was people, they tried their best to lock it up, but it's Italy, and people are going to be coming out of their tiny little doors in the alleys, and so that was like there was a lot going on Six Underground, but
While
yeah,
you were there, you
sometimes
probably know this, right? Because you drive, and in Italy, because the roads are so small, people honk the horn all the time to let you know, hey, I'm coming from the other direction. Did you see that? Where
no,
have you? Yeah, usually
no.
because it's so tight, like they go somewhere it's tight and they just keep honking the horn so that if another car comes, they know, hey, I'm coming
Oh,
further.
you know what? Yes, I did see that, but not in the city. It was like more so we were in a canyon, like in a
Mm-hmm.
canyon road, and we are going around this looping corner. But the funny thing is the road was wide enough for two cars, and the guy would just honk this horn, and I'm just like, oh, that's just what they do out here, I guess. I'm going around a corner, honk. Just like, I was like, I got what he was doing, but it was pretty silly. I don't
But
know.
European roads are so tight. So to me, it's so funny. Like in Germany, we have the Autobahn. You most time, like there, most of them have a speed limit, but there's stretches where you don't have it. But our roads are so narrow. Our parking spots are even tighter. Like there's no way you could park a pickup truck anywhere. Our
Yeah.
parking spot, like if you go into one of those park garages underground, you can barely even get through the thing. And then it says two parking spots, and you're just really hoping the other person parked in their line because to try to get in is so hard. You're so spoiled here. Like have one parking spot, you almost fit two cars. And then the roads here are so wide and they're like 55 miles an hour. I was like, I could go 100 easy.
Yeah.
Let me go fast.
I know that feeling.
In Miami, it's so nice because when I drive from up here, it's like a 3.5, 4 hour drive to Miami. And then when I kind of get there, it's really easy to go 80, 90, and you really got to kind of watch it, but everybody else is going there. And I remember one time I was driving on a like side road, I went down, and then I see a Porsche, then I see another Porsche, and I see another one. I was like, uh-oh, they're about to start racing, and they did. And I was like, oh, snap, I'm in the race.
Real life Fast and Furious.
It was. I'm like, hey, welcome to Miami, like GTA 6. Well, is there like a certain kind of stunt or like driving technique that you mostly get hired for? Or what is it when somebody's like, oh, we're going to call Brett for this?
It's honestly I wouldn't say I have anything like specific like oh this is what he does because I am very well rounded with driving like I can drift, I can drive fast, I can hit marks, so I can do all that stuff. So it's really more so just like a rounded circle. I do, I've done a few crashes now, so I've gotten a few
Oh, you
people's
have.
trust with
Ooh.
crashes, and yeah, so that's you just have to build the trust with people, and then different calls start coming, and yeah, so it's still a work in progress, but
Is it like a
it
head
is for
on kind
everyone.
of
So
crashes or flipping kind of
uh,
crashes?
I do both. So I did. I actually was just up for a Taurus Award for hardest hit for a head-on crash that we did on
Oh,
Eeny Meeny.
what's it
Um,
called? Eeny beady?
Eeny Meeny.
Eeny
It
meeny.
just came out last year on Hulu, so it's a Hulu film. But it
Huh.
was me and Logan Holiday, and we were both in cop cars in a parking garage, and the car Crystal Hooks was driving was in front or in between us both, and we were coming at each other, and she reverse 180s out of the way, and we crashed into each other. So that was fun. That was a good hit. I think Logan got the harder hit than I did, so.
Was it a oneer or did you do a few takes for
We
that
did it
one?
once. Yeah, we had it planned possibly to do it twice, but we did it good enough on the first one. They were like, "No, that's great. We're done."
Did you have to get a massage afterwards and some sauna, or was it okay?
I was all right, to be honest with you. I was a little sore, but like I said, I was in an SUV and Logan was in a sedan, and he got wrung pretty good from it. So I'm
Oh.
sure he had a massage or two from that one. But
Like watching the Fall Guy, especially like some of the ridiculous stuff they do, I'm always like, oh my God, just flipping the car completely and just hoping it lands where it's supposed to land. Like, if you were to flip it, do you really have to try to flip on a mark? Or is it just hoping it kind of lands in the frame that they want?
no, I mean a lot of times they'll set a specific mark for where they want you to hit the button. Like if you're doing a cannon, like for instance, if you're gonna do one and maybe there's an obstacle that they're gonna CGI into the frame, and so you have to hit it specifically on this mark. Where it lands after the fact, you can always speculate, and after you've done a few of them, you can kind of guess like where it's going to go. But it's kind of hard sometimes depending on, the car and the road, the build, all that stuff. So, but you can get pretty close, and just say, hey, it's going to land in this area. And
Hmm.
so they'll put cameras down and, crash cameras, and hopefully you land right next to it. That's the goal. So
Have you seen that commercial? Like, I forgot. Is it the Allstate one? The one with the mayhem guy that always like gets everyone hurt? Like and there's one where they're on one of the lots and he's like, I'm a stunt driver and I'm going to drive through this like, uh, um, vegetable stand and of course I have to crash a hydrant and you see all of the stuff and they do it on the backlot so you can see it as like BTS. If you haven't seen it, you probably you can look it up. It's really
I
funny.
feel like I have. It's been a long time though since I try and not watch ads, to be honest with you. I try and
How do
which
you
is
get
funny because it's
by?
it's part of our job, like we want to work on ads, but we don't want to watch them. So
Oh, that's right. There are a lot of driver jobs for ads. I mean, they rotate ads all the time. Like we actually get a really big amount of like commercials that get shot down here, really big ones, a lot of celebrity ones and stuff. So, but I know the coordinator that I train with, he's been getting a lot of those to coordinate a lot recently too. He's like, look at
nice.
this car job that I'm coordinating.
Very good. Awesome.
But is there something on your like wish list that you would love to do or a project that you would like to be part of?
I wouldn't say anything in particular. I'm just trying to stay busy and, keep the money flowing so to feed the family. And I'm not really looking for anything in particular at this point. I'm always enjoying doing crashes and all that stuff. So anytime I get the opportunity for those, then I'm always pretty pumped. Um, but yeah, no, nothing in particular. I also, to be honest, I really like the fast driving jobs, like on Six Underground, where we were doing all that fast driving through the city, and on Transformers we did a lot of that as well. So those are always my favorite. Like when you're in the hot seat in the fast car and doing all that cool stuff. That's my favorite stuff. So I really
Oh, I
enjoy
can
all
see
that.
that because then you get the race and get to do some things. You probably get a few days then too, huh? If you do like multiple things.
Yeah, like those will last probably about 6 weeks or so, and
Oh
it's a lot
wow.
of driving, a lot of big stuff going on, and it's challenging every day. So that's the fun part. That's my favorite thing. I mean, obviously, I like, the crashes are very cool, but that's like my bread and butter is the driving fast and doing, big slides through corners, and that's the cool stuff to me. So.
So what's the hustle look like for you now? I know like a pre-COVID, post-COVID, everything's a little different. And you're like a very niche stunt guy being a stunt driver, especially sure taking you would love to take any job, probably you do it. But what does the hustle look like for you?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm obviously always trying to keep busy and hustle people and just remind them that I'm still here. So,
So
so
people
it's
you work with, you're like, hey, something coming up.
Yeah, so I mean, every once in a while you'll hear something like, "Oh, did you hear so and so has this?"
Mm,
And you just kind of hearsay from other people, and then like, "Oh, he has that." And, you send them a text and, "Hey, if you have a spot for me, then would love to join you." That kind of stuff. But I don't really have like someone that I work for in particular every single time, so I'm constantly on a rotating,
mm,
rotisserie, just trying to find someone else to work with and. Because with the driving stuff, it doesn't always, line up to be like, oh, I got another job and, there's driving and, fight stuff might be that way because there's usually always fights and stuff, but
yeah.
it's a little different in each person's categories. So I feel like I work with a lot of different people and which is great because it makes more contacts and yeah, that's the nature of it. So
It's like that extra adrenaline. Everybody that has like some sort of niche, like an extra one. But in that, like you have that, but then you also started coordinating. So you just got off of a job, a nice, cool job with some big name people that you had in there that you got to coordinate. Do you so go being in that role that's a lot of like also planning and responsibility and all of that, how do you enjoy that in comparison to being on set and then just kind of doing the thing that somebody tells you to do?
I got to be honest with you, it is a lot different. It opened my eyes a lot. I basically now that I've been in that seat, as a coordinator and seeing what they have to go through, and um, it made me as a performer want to perform somewhat differently in a sense because now I know what they have to deal with and what they, the repercussions for what they have, to come for if something goes wrong or if you don't listen and it takes too much time, things like that. Like every tiny little thing goes back to the coordinator. Like whether it's something silly like, oh, you didn't go to lunch on time. It's just silly little things. So that made me more hyper aware, and I'm always trying to help the coordinator out more so now. Like if I'm on a set, I try and act more like as their assistant in and just whatever I can do to help them is, make their day easier. Because
That's
it is
good.
a lot. It is a lot. It's a lot to prep. It's a lot to handle when you're on set, and this day and age, everything always changes like on the day. Like a lot of stuff that you've prepared and planned just goes out the window when you get to work. So, at least that's what I've, been through the last two jobs that I did get to coordinate. Neither one of them was, we pre-planned everything and then when we get there on the day, everything is just thrown out and we just do whatever they want to do and figure it out and roll with the punches. So,
Oh my God. But then when you first getting started, so then you don't really have like a roster of like people, like you've like met a lot of people. You can be like, oh, I think this guy could do something or here, but you probably need a bunch of options. I'm sure things also go up and it has to be the right look and it has to fit here. What was that like? Getting all the talent because I know yours was out on Stunt Contact and Stunt Access for the last one too. Like giving a behind the scenes emails flooding in, like how many emails are you really getting? Like how many people are there that are like, oh yeah, emails that you're just scanning? What is that like?
I mean, it's a lot, especially once we first announced it. It got flooded pretty heavily. But I've
No pun
kind,
intended.
yeah, no pun intended. I know that joke went around the table many times in the last few months. Um, I basically I know what it feels like to hustle someone, send them an email, and if they don't respond, it's kind of a bummer to me. Like I know that people are busy and they might have seen it, but I try to respond to every single person that emails me, whether I have to do it on my weekend or whatever it takes. Eventually, it might take 2, 3 months, but eventually I will respond, let them know I saw it, put it in my file, which I do have a file of everyone that's sent me stuff. So yeah, it's to me, I enjoy looking at their stuff and finding new talent because there are a lot of talented people out there, whether you've heard about them or not. I found quite a few people that emailed me on this last one that I was like, wow, like they are very good. I've never heard of them before, but I have them in my, like hire list for the next one. So, um, it definitely I would say, email hustling is definitely a good way to go. And but yeah, it was. when we put it out there, it was a lot of people. I would say probably 300 emails I got,
That's
maybe
kind of what
something
I
like
was
that.
thinking. Because I mean, you can't even contain it. Even I was thinking people that are not on the platform, but then people sharing it. Hey, you'd be great for this, and then you get all the outside people that are not paying for the platforms. And I think it is pretty amazing. But I feel like I've worked many regular jobs before, and usually if I've like gotten work, it wasn't because I sent my resume in and my resume stood out somewhere. I'm like the person, like I go in the room and there's like a connection, and then I get the job done, and it's like a thing. I trust you can do it, and then I always get the job, even if I've never done whatever it is before. Which in stunts you can't really like do that, but everywhere else, kind of I'm like a I'll figure it out person. So that's how it works. And I felt right back at the table of, man, now I'm just sending out a resume. Feels like a reel when you're just kind of at the beginning and, you're just cutting whatever you have. And then, I mean, I can imagine if I were to get it and I would look at myself. I can't trust like someone that I don't like know how tricky that is. So it is interesting keeping in mind what it must be like for you, first of all, getting so many, then trying to narrow it down, and then also trusting someone that you haven't seen. Like, I can't imagine that, but it makes it so tough. I would rather like in person be like, hey, it's me.
Yeah, no, I mean, to be honest, like that's a good point too, is the trust factor, is someone could be really, really good and they have a super cool reel and they've got credits and everything. In that instance, I'll try and look at their credits, see who they worked for. Sometimes I'll text that person and be like, "Hey, what did you think of them?" Or even as silly as this is, because I try to stay off social media as much as I can, I'll go on Instagram, see how many mutual friends we have. If it's only like two mutual friends, then I might be like, I don't know. If it's like 100, then it's like, okay, like they clearly have been around and they know people. So that's one way I go about it. But yeah, no, it's tough because like the last few jobs as well, it's they only allow you to hire people like locally. So I didn't,
Mhm.
I know some people in New York, and that was what really helped me is that I would find people and then I would text them and say, hey, what do you think of this person? And they were kind of my go-to as far as like, recommendations and everything. But it does like it makes it hard to find people when you go out of town and you're not used to being there and you know yeah, I hope I wish that it was like we could bring people in from all over the place, but it's slowly going against that way. So,
It's also it seems very dried up even at home in LA. So it makes it so tricky. So then, yeah, the crew comes together there and then just like flies out. So a lot of places are like, all right, we got our crew, and then everybody just flies out, and that kind of works. So I'm in that process. It's been like a multi-year plan, like training, getting out there. I'm constantly in New York and LA, making all my connections, getting all the training and things that I need. But so for next year to move to LA to really be there. So I'm like constantly flying. Like, I'm still here. Hey, we still cool.
yeah,
What are we doing next year? So, but it's so interesting because when everybody says it does take like a few years to really get in, I was like, cool, that works with my plan. But it's still so tricky because then you move out to a place like LA, like you still got to be able to make money, like what you said. It's expensive.
it's
So to come
expensive.
out
Yeah,
when you don't feel like you're going to be able to work, is I'm trying to not think about it too much, but it's just like out there. It's like, right, next year. So I'm just ramping up and getting ready.
for sure. And yeah, no, it has been pretty dead out in LA. I mean, there's stuff floating around. There's definitely jobs going around, but as far as everyone keeping busy, it's just not happening right now. So it's a lot of people are out of jobs right now and trying to do what they can and, getting one job here and there. It's to be honest, I don't even work in LA as much as I used to work here a lot. Now I kind of find myself going all over the world, all over the place. Very rarely do I work in LA a lot now. So it's turned into a different, the business is evolving, and it's just you got to work around what's being thrown at you. So
See, but that's like so funny because you have all the only local has to be New York, has to be LA, has to be Atlanta, has to be Chicago, has to be Vancouver. You get all of those, but it's only like a few jobs that come out and they're pretty big, but they're all in like a different city every time. And then you're like, well, how's anybody really getting steady work? But then, like you said, they're all over the place. You got Ireland, England, Assassin's Creed is filming this year in Italy. I really want to be.
nice.
I'm like trying to like this coordinator. He is German. I need to find this guy. I need to get his contact. I was like, hello, let's have a beer.
That's awesome.
I don't think there'll be a lot of driving in Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, maybe carriages.
Oh, would you? Well, no. That would be then. Would that be horse skills, or because it has wheels, would it
Horse.
still be driving?
Yeah. No, it would be horses for sure. I wouldn't step foot on a carriage. I can tell you that.
You like just put a little clutch, and then the thing is just. And you're like,
Oh
man,
yeah.
that horse is drifting
I
hard.
I would probably find a way to flip that thing. I can tell you that. So it wouldn't be on purpose either.
Oh man, that's so funny. But do you have anything lined up, or right now it's just waiting for the phone to ring?
Right now, just kind of waiting, spending time with the family, which is nice because I was just gone, on that for a few months. So, getting all that in and having fun with the kiddo. But I do have a few things like a couple days maybe in town, but nothing super solid yet. And yeah, just looking for the next one right now.
Is rookie one of those things where you guys like do keep busy? I feel like they're always driving and doing stuff in the rookie. Is that something that can be like a decent income for you guys? Like, all right, there should be another episode of the rookie coming out.
Yeah, it is for sure. A lot of those guys have like who they hire, and it's like they keep those same people coming in. So sometimes it's hard to get on them, but yeah, no, it's definitely that's a great job, and sometimes they give you the opportunity. So yeah, I haven't worked on the rookie yet, but maybe someday.
Yeah, it's so funny because now that you got the ambulance in the pit, next time they need an ambulance, it might just be might just be
That's
you
true.
again.
It's true. I hope that ball gets rolling again.
Oh man. Well, we went all around from you've got started as a little boy and went racing, got into stunts, did all your thing, you did coding, but we forgot the most important question that I always ask, and yours might be very different from others, but what is in your stunt driver's bag?
All right. I have a it's funny, I have it written down, so I'm not gonna miss anything. So I have a fire suit. That's one. Always have a fire suit because if you're a driver, you always want to be able to either A, be on a safety team or get in the car and not catch on fire. That's always the number one goal. So you have the fire suit. Then we've got like elbow and knee pads, like catcher. I have catcher shin pads for if you're doing a big stunt, because sometimes your knees will hit the dash, or like if you're doing a big crash, or if in the worst case, steering shaft can break and go into your lap. So you want to protect your knees and your shins and all that stuff. Always have my safety belts. So I've got my seat belts in there.
Interesting, your
Um,
own seatbelts, huh?
oh yeah, yep. Always carry my own seat
How do you
belts.
install those? Is there like hooks
It's
and things?
it's always different. Unfortunately, like it's sometimes you get thrown a car that doesn't have eye bolts, and some you have to put them in yourself. And so I used to carry a kit to like a punch and a hammer and a drill and all this stuff, but most of the time the crew has all that now, so I don't
Carpenter
really care.
Brett.
I don't really carry it. So I leave that out of my bag now. Like, that actually all got taken away when I went to India, so they took all my stuff. But what else? I have a neck restraint, so I'll always have my neck restraints. And I have a Hans Hutchins Hybrid Pro is the one I use. Let's see what else. Oh, I always have daisy chains, ratchet straps. Those are for like if you have to put your belts in a car that there is nothing to tie to, you can always wrap those around, something solid, whether it's, the seat belts in the back seat, or, you find one of the bars for the seats in the back that you can wrap it around that's like solid, a
Oh,
really
that would have been
solid
great for the
bar.
helicopters we were testing. We were doing the helicopters and they didn't have them. We're trying to see where we can hook what. That's interesting. Cool.
Yeah, yeah. So I always have all that kind of stuff. Carabiners, shackles, quick links, all that. That's all good for tying in belts and or yourself in a helicopter. Um, what else? I have, yeah, just a bunch of fire gear. Those are really like the main things. So
So do you have a separate one? So this is like your driver's bag, and then you have like a regular small stunt bag, or do you take like your pads and stuff just out, and then that's what you take if you have a stunt job that doesn't require all the fancy things?
yeah, no, I usually have one big bag that has all my stuff in it, and then I will bring like a duffel bag that's empty and just flatten it and then put it in that bag as well if I can. But I'll bring that along with me so that I can, on the day, if I know what I'm doing, I can just bring that. I know the old school method that my dad loves to run by is to just bring your gear bag with everything in it every day. And I used to run that. But nowadays every job I go on, they will shove 10 people into a 7-pass van and you're just slammed in there. And if we all bring our big
It's
bags,
just
then none of us are ever going to make it to work. So,
then it's like in a boot
uh,
camp bus when you first get taken. If in the military, if you go to the boot camp, you go in the bus, you have your big duffel, and then you just have it up front. You can't even see, and they're like,
yeah.
everybody squeeze in, and you're just like, just you and your duffel.
Yeah, it's hilarious. I still to this day, like on the way home from Here Comes the Flood to the airport, the guy showed up in a sedan and I was like, "Are you kidding? You're for me?" And he's like, "Yeah."
In order
And I was like,
XL.
"Oh, okay, here's all my bags." And he's just like, "What?" And I'm like, I told you guys to bring a sedan SUV. So, but that's, stuff we got to deal with all the time now in this business. So,
I was wondering, so when you travel, I was just thinking, I was like, oh, okay, there's this Vancouver job. I might hear back, maybe not. I was like, can I even bring everything? Like, is it like an extra check bag? Like, what is it like when you have to really travel with all your stuff? You can't like leave anything home because you can't grab it. And so you have all this extra stuff.
yeah, I mean it's definitely better to bring more, than you need and just have it. But yeah, definitely come prepared, but I don't know. You don't have to overpack as well.
You
So
get stopped there, like no nunchucks,
oh
no,
yeah.
this like fake knife still
That's
looks
how I
actually.
that's
Go
how I
ahead.
felt. That's how I felt in India when they were pulling out my chains and putting them on the ground and my hammers and my picks and all that stuff and all the heavy stuff got brought out and they were like, "No, you can't bring this." And I was just like, "All right, just take it, whatever."
Well, we had this too. Like my son and I last year, we went to, might have been New York or Colorado or somewhere where we went just around this time. And he had got for Christmas one year like a butterfly
Mm,
a knife practice thing. It wasn't a real, it was like it didn't have the knife portion just so you can do the flick. So we
yeah.
got he didn't know it was in his backpack still. So we got out of Florida just fine. But when we went back, we got stopped, we got searched, and the guy's like, I was like, we do martial arts. Like
Yeah.
this, and it's not even he's like, yeah, but there's like no orange on it or nothing. So just holding it looks like already like it
I
could be
have
dangerous.
I have one
So
right here, actually.
you got skills, you
Bring it
can show.
out. No, just the basics, just the basics.
But then we had to leave it. He's like, you can mail it. I was like, where are we gonna? I was like, just keep it. But I was
Oh
like,
yeah.
come on.
I've given many knives away, unfortunately. Yeah.
The price that comes with it. But it's always fun. I'm always nervous when they go through TSS. I was like, I wonder. One day I was traveling, so I'm also a voice actor. So I had from my mic, it has like this metal piece to like screw it in. It's like a spider kind of web design. I never thought about if it's metal or not, but it was going through the thing, and there are like three, four of them just meeting up at the monitor trying to figure out what's in my backpack. They're like, "There's something we've never seen before. I need you to open up your backpack."
Yeah. I
I was like,
usually
"This is my mic."
I'll get that with a spare leg. If I have a spare leg in my backpack, they're like, "What is that?" And then yeah.
Oh no.
I get that a lot.
Oh, I can't imagine because I mean, it's not something you even see that it would be, that
Right.
you have that.
Yeah.
So, oh my God. Yeah. I can't even imagine. It's just my spare.
I've got some TSA stories, so that's all I gotta say.
You
I
make
have
it
d-
through and then keep the
I
stories.
have dealt with them many times.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day. I know you're like back home, you're enjoying your family time, but I just had to have you on. And who knows, the next film I'm gonna watch, if I'll catch you on there. If not, wait, what is the next one? Something's coming out next week, I think. Is it an action film? Now I gotta look it up. I don't know, but I'll be on the lookout. I was like, but if you watch it, at least your name is so easy to see when you watch a movie and you're like Brett, and then the thing that has no vowels in it and it's really short, that's him.
Amazing.
That's you. Easy to spot out of all of the names when it goes up in zero point 0.5 seconds, 20
Yep,
stunned people. That was, can you
absolutely.
pause it? Well, hopefully I get to see it. Did you go to the Stunt Access Beach Bash last year in fall?
No, I did not.
They do this, I think, like an annual thing, and they had like an anniversary and a bunch of people just by the beach and all the stunt people. Always trying to go wherever there's like a hangout and meet people in person, but I'm sure we know the same people. Tim Mikulecki from ISA, he was like, going to be on the podcast eventually, but he is so busy coordinating. Oh my God. If you look on
Yeah,
his IMDb, he has like 21 upcoming projects. So
yeah.
I'm going to see him in a few weeks, him and Anthony, and I'm like super stoked whenever I see you guys in person because first of all, you think stunt people, you're like, oh man, they just like up to no good, probably just do a whole bunch of stuff. But you guys are all so sweet, but also so fun.
That's the goal. That's definitely the goal. Be sweet and have a good time.
So one day, not too far in the future, I get to see you in person. But I was already really excited we got to do this. So thank you for taking the time to be on Stunt Talk with moi.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. It's been a very fun chat.
Thank you. Till the
Thank
next
you.
episode.